Here is a direct quote from Lauri Markkanen. I want a fresh start to my NBA career somewhere else. So Lauri Markkanen is hoping to close the book on his career with the Chicago Bulls. Honestly, ever since his second season, he has really disappointed. It sucks. It sucks. I won't lie to you guys. It absolutely sucks. I think everybody in the whole city of Chicago, every single Chicago Bulls fan was rooting for Lauri Markkanen. What sucks even more is that this season, he actually started really good. And then he went down with another injury, and that's why Lauri Markkanen probably won't be a Chicago Bull any longer. Now, on the season, he played 51 games. His statistics aren't horrible, 13.5 points per game, 5.3 rebounds. However, he is a career 15.5 point per game and 7 rebounds. Now, I think we all remember his sophomore campaign where he went 19-9, but it appears as if Lauri Markkanen has several different offers from teams. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Will Upton here. We have a Chicago Bulls video. If you enjoy it, hit that like button, hit that sub button. I try to post a Bulls video every single day along with NBA content. Now, Lauri Markkanen, it sucks. He wants to leave in free agency. This is probably going to happen today. In fact, when a lot of you watch this video, it may have already happened. I think I speak for most Bulls fans right now. When the initial Lonzo Ball sign and trade deal was just announced, I had 100% belief that Lauri Markkanen was in that deal. And then when we got DeMar DeRozan in a sign and trade deal, I was 110% sure that Lauri Markkanen was going to be in that deal, especially considering that really the only rumors that came out in the offseason on teams interested in Lauri were the San Antonio Spurs. And I believe this happened late last night, maybe not too late last night, but the Charlotte Hornets recently, Lauri was linked to the Charlotte Hornets recently in the last couple of days because Charlotte was one of the few teams that actually has a bunch of cap space. Well, yesterday, Kelly Oubre decided to take kind of not necessarily a lowball offer, but probably less money than he was anticipating he was going to make to sign with the Charlotte Hornets. So I think the Charlotte Hornets are off the table. However, the report, as I said, from Chris Haynes of Yahoo Sports, Markkanen said his camp has offers from several different teams. We'll see what happens. I don't think he is going to get that much of compensation. I don't think we're really going to get much compensation. Lauri told a reporter that hopefully things will be sorted out quickly with the Bulls in a new direction for his career. He seemed unhappy in Chicago for a while. However, restricted free agents don't really have much control on where they play. The Bulls can actually still match any offer he receives. Markkanen could also accept his $9 million qualifying offer and become an unrestricted free agent next summer. However, that would keep him in Chicago right now. And I think he would actually have the right to veto any trades if that were to happen. Now, I want to talk about Lauri Markkanen even coming back to the Chicago Bulls because a 24-year-old 7-footer who made 40% of his threes last season holds a lot of promise. However, I understand his defense is very lackluster. The reason $9 million to me with Lauri Markkanen is a pretty good idea is really just because I think that $9 million is, I was saying in the offseason I'd take him for $11 million a year. Lauri's going to be expecting like 20. So if you can get that for half off, you're looking at a steal immediately. However, I do want to see in the 4 years on the Chicago Bulls, it sucks for Lauri because he's been on the Bulls the last 4 years, and those are like the 4 years you probably don't want to be on the Chicago Bulls. I mean, we didn't make the playoffs. We didn't do anything. We had to deal with Jim Boylen, which was a nightmare. And I think Jim Boylen and his coaching antics, I think it messed up a lot of players. I think Lauri Markkanen was one of the guys that just didn't get really anything from Jim Boylen being a head coach. He was pretty much forgotten about. There was no plays set up for him. He was literally just on the court hovering most of the time. And I think Jim Boylen really, really underutilized Lauri, and I'm sure that only wrecked his confidence. And you have to factor in, I mean, this guy basically got injured every single season. So injuries and a bad coach and no point guard. I mean, the Chicago Bulls haven't had a good point guard, a good playmaking point guard, a guy who can hit his players and for open shots. They haven't had that since Rajon Rondo. It's literally been since Rajon Rondo for one season. So several years ago. And so that's why I would like to see Lauri. Also, he fits our bench perfectly. I mean, a 40% three-point shooter, guy who's averaging 13 and 5, coming off the bench with Kobe. I think that's a recipe for improvement. I think he would at least improve. I just want to see this guy with a point guard. Alex Caruso can play make. He can get open shots for guys. I think he would be a good fit for Lauri. Also, though, Lauri might, even get some starts next season if they were to actually retain him. You never know. You never know what lineups Billy Donovan is going to go with. The Bulls could obviously use another shooter, especially considering DeMar DeRozan. I mean, what did he shoot? 25.7% from three last year. The first guy who's probably going to start over Lauri would be Patrick Williams. But I still think Lauri could find a role on the team as we're trying to make the playoffs. A sign and trade at this current point is a little worrisome because it's not looking like it's just not looking good. It really just isn't looking good. I've seen guys saying, we can still do a sign and trade with the Charlotte Hornets. Maybe let's go after Miles Bridges. And as much as I love Miles Bridges and I would love that sign and trade, I just don't think it's going to happen, especially if he has offers from several different teams. However, my last point on Lauri, I wouldn't be surprised if there were no teams offering Lauri. He had absolutely nothing, and this was just something from his agent to try and get an offer because he's running out of time. Like, he is really running out of time. A lot of these guys, Kelly Oubre knew he was running out of time. Lauri Markkanen might be running out of time if he really wants out of Chicago. So AK would, honestly, I think AK would, I think they're going to satisfy whatever Lauri wants. So I do anticipate him getting at least a new contract on a different team. I don't know if he'll get signed and traded, but I do think he'll find himself on a new roster. So with the Chicago Bulls, their lineup next season, it should consist of Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic. And I've seen from a lot of Bulls fans, not really a big fan of DeMar DeRozan at the 4. I do believe the Chicago Bulls need to get at least one more big man. I think one more big man would ease my mind so much. Every Bulls video I make, I talk about Daniel Theis and losing Daniel Theis. And it's funny because I cover a lot of videos. I make a lot of videos. I have a whole Houston Rockets channel. Links in the bio if that interests you. But Daniel Theis, when he first signed with the Houston Rockets, I wasn't too big on the signing. I'm still not that big on the signing. That's a whole different video. That's a Houston Rocket video. But Daniel Theis is a guy that the Bulls are going to miss. Thaddeus Young, a guy the Bulls are going to miss. I think all of us could agree that we would have rather had Lauri Markkanen in the sign and trade for DeRozan than Thaddeus Young, because Thaddeus Young, although he is super old, he was the glue guy. I mean, this is a guy with the experience, the veteran presence, the vocal leadership. I mean, Thaddeus Young leading by example. The list goes on and on and on of positive attributes for Thaddeus Young. And so right now, the Bulls, they don't have many options in the free agency market. So I do believe, whatever team actually wants Lauri Markkanen, I do believe the Chicago Bulls will attempt a sign and trade for a backup big man, specifically a backup power forward. But I do just believe the Bulls need to make an improvement at the power forward position, or at least just get some depth. Because I'll tell you this, DeMar DeRozan, in his time in the Spurs, I know not too many people watch Spurs basketball. They can be a very boring team to watch. basically DeMar DeRozan was a point forward. So DeMar would play the 4. He would carry the ball up a lot. I mean, this guy averaged 7 assists last season, the most in his career, coming from the power forward position. And so I think with a team like the Spurs, if it worked for the Spurs, if DeMar played the 4 for 3 years, I'll trust it. I will trust it. I just want to have that backup in case we get paired up against like a big boy unit. You know what I'm thinking? Like, kind of like, it's as if Dwight Howard was still on the Sixers and they deployed a Dwight Howard and Joel Embiid lineup. I'd think, all right, maybe, let's tinker around with different rotations here to kind of match that dual big man. It's not the end of the world, because how often do you see Dwight Howard and Joel Embiid? Well, that definitely won't be happening this season as they're not on the same roster anymore. But maybe a Joel Embiid, Andre Drummond duo, like that's just, I know Andre Drummond isn't the greatest defender, so I think you guys get the point I'm trying to get at. We need a backup big man, preferably at the power forward position, and I think emphasizing defense over three-point shooting would be a little bit more ideal, because I do think we need to find our replacement for Daniel Theis. And Daniel Theis is like a career 32% three-point shooter. Nothing great, nothing horrible by any means. I just think, we don't need to emphasize that three-point shooting as much as we should emphasize the defensive impact, because the Bulls, once again, last season, not a great defensive team one bit. More so at the guard position. We got the guard, we got Caruso, we got Lonzo Ball to be those defensive guards. Vucevic, decent defender, and then Lauri Markkanen is just a very bad defender. So anytime Lauri would play, you'd kind of get bullied down there. So I'm not sure what the Bulls will do. I'm sure by the time a lot of you watch this video, there might have already been a move regarding Lauri Markkanen. So that's going to be it for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, hit that sub button. I post videos every single day. I know you guys would like the content, so stay tuned for more Bulls news, more Bulls updates, and I'll see you guys later.